If you're over 60 and you've noticed your muscles getting smaller, your strength fading, and everyday tasks becoming harder, you're experiencing sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. But here's what doctors don't tell you. Sarcopenia isn't inevitable, and it's not too late to reverse it. These 10 science-backed biohacks work with your aging body's biology to triple your muscle growth, restore strength, and help you stay independent for decades to come. You'll discover why the right kind of resistance training matters more than cardio, the one technique doctors completely ignore that forces your muscles to grow, and the recovery methods that let you train safely and effectively after 60. Biohack number 1. Progressive resistance training. After 50, your body loses muscle at an accelerating rate, about 3 to 8% per decade, and that rate doubles after 70. This is sarcopenia, and it's why getting out of a chair becomes harder, why carrying groceries feels exhausting, and why your balance isn't what it used to be. But here's the truth. Your muscles don't disappear because of age alone. They disappear because they're not being challenged. Even at 60, 70, or 80 years old, your muscles will respond to progressive resistance training. Progressive resistance means continuously asking your muscles to do slightly more than they did last time. If you did 10 chair squats last week, try for 12 this week. If bodyweight exercises feel easy, hold a soup can in each hand, then graduate to light dumbbells. The weight doesn't matter. What matters is that you're progressively challenging your muscles beyond what's comfortable. This is the foundation that stops sarcopenia in its tracks. Your body will maintain and even build muscle at any age when you give it a reason to. Track your numbers in a simple notebook. Write down what you did, then aim to beat it next session. If your numbers aren't improving, your muscles aren't growing. This is the foundation everything else builds on, but most people over 50 waste their effort by moving too fast through exercises and missing the real muscle building signal. Biohack number 2. Time under tension. Most people over 60 were taught to exercise quickly, get your reps done fast and move on. But that approach actually works against you when you're fighting sarcopenia, because your muscles don't count reps. They respond to how long they're under tension. Slowing down is the secret. Take 3 full seconds to lower yourself into a chair squat, pause for 1 second at the bottom, then take 2 seconds to stand back up. That's 1 rep, and it triggers more muscle growth than 10 rushed repetitions ever could. The lowering phase, when you're fighting gravity, is where most muscle building happens after 60. When you control that descent and pause at the bottom, you're creating maximum tension on your muscle fibers, and that tension is the signal your body needs to maintain and build muscle tissue. Slowing down your movements increases muscle fiber recruitment by 40 to 70% without adding any weight at all. You're working smarter, not harder, and that's crucial when you're dealing with joints that might not tolerate heavy loads anymore. This controlled movement also improves your balance and coordination, which helps prevent falls. You're not just building muscle, you're training your nervous system to control your body better. Slow reps maximize tension, but when you hit your limit, most people stop. And that's exactly where doctors tell you to quit. But there's a technique they completely ignore that can triple your muscle growth in a single set, and it's the most powerful tool you have for fighting sarcopenia after 60. Biohack number 3. Mechanical drop sets. Here's why doctors ignore this technique. They're trained to tell seniors to be careful and don't push too hard. So when you reach failure on an exercise, they tell you to stop and rest. But that advice is exactly what keeps you weak and accelerates muscle loss. When you can't do another rep of an exercise, your muscles aren't actually finished working. What's finished is your leverage in that position. Your muscle fibers still have capacity left, and this is exactly where you can squeeze out triple the muscle-building stimulus that doctors say is impossible after 60. Mechanical drop sets are the technique the medical establishment ignores because they don't understand how aging muscles actually respond to progressive resistance. Here's how it works for seniors fighting sarcopenia. Let's say you're doing wall push-ups and you hit your limit. You can't do another rep. Instead of stopping like your doctor told you, immediately move your hands to a kitchen counter and continue with counter push-ups. When you can't do any more of those, move to an even higher surface like a dresser and keep going. No rest between positions, just continuous work. 1 set just became 3 muscle-building opportunities. You're keeping tension on your muscles past the point where doctors tell you to quit. And that extended tension is what forces your body to maintain and build muscle tissue even as you age. This is how you triple your muscle growth in the same amount of time. This technique is perfect for seniors because you're not adding weight that stresses your joints. You're simply changing your body position to make the exercise easier as you fatigue, which lets you work your muscles thoroughly without risking injury. You're bypassing leverage limitations, not your body's actual capacity. Research shows that training to true muscular fatigue, not just stopping when it gets uncomfortable, is what triggers the hormonal and metabolic responses that build muscle. But doctors trained in the take it easy philosophy never teach this to seniors, which is why so many people over 60 accept muscle loss as inevitable when it's completely reversible. The medical establishment treats sarcopenia like it's a disease you manage, not a condition you reverse. But mechanical drop sets prove that your aging muscles will respond aggressively to the right stimulus. You just have to push past the point where conventional medical advice tells you to stop. That's the technique doctors ignore that can triple your muscle growth. But what if your joints hurt, or you're worried about injury from traditional resistance training? There's another method that builds muscle with almost no joint stress at all. Biohack number 4, blood flow restriction training. This sounds unusual, but research shows you can build the same muscle with 30% of the weight you'd normally need by using blood flow restriction training. For seniors dealing with arthritis, joint pain, or injury concerns, this is a game changer. Blood flow restriction training uses specialized bands or even knee wraps wrapped around your upper arms or upper thighs at about 7 out of 10 tightness. Tight enough to restrict blood flow slightly, but not painful or cutting off circulation completely. Then you do exercises with very light weights or even just your body weight, doing 15 to 30 repetitions per set. The restricted blood flow creates metabolic stress in your muscles, and those metabolic byproducts signal your body to build muscle just like heavy weights would, but without the joint stress. This is especially valuable for seniors because sarcopenia often comes with joint problems that make traditional heavy lifting painful or impossible. Blood flow restriction lets you fight muscle loss without aggravating arthritis, old injuries, or age-related joint wear. You're working with your body's biology, specifically the metabolic signals that trigger muscle growth, instead of forcing your aging joints to handle loads they can't tolerate anymore. Those training techniques will help you rebuild muscle, but if you're not fueling your body correctly, you're fighting an uphill battle against sarcopenia. Biohack number 5, creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate is the most researched supplement for combating age-related muscle loss, and it's especially important after 50 because your body's natural creatine production declines with age. Creatine doesn't build muscle directly. It gives your muscles the energy to perform the resistance training that builds muscle. It loads your ATP energy system, which is what your muscles use for strength and power. More creatine means more energy for those last few reps, better performance in your exercises, and stronger signals to maintain muscle mass. For seniors fighting sarcopenia, creatine has additional benefits beyond muscle building. Research shows it improves bone density, enhances cognitive function, and may even reduce the risk of falls by improving muscle power and reaction time. Take 5 grams daily. Timing doesn't matter, just consistency. Mix it in water, add it to your morning coffee, or stir it into yogurt. You don't need a loading phase, you don't need to cycle it, just take it every single day. Creatine is safe for seniors when taken at recommended doses, and it's one of the few supplements with decades of research proving it works. It gives you the energy to do the resistance training that stops sarcopenia, and that makes it essential for maintaining independence as you age. Creatine fuels your training, but if you're not eating enough protein, you're still losing the battle against muscle loss. Biohack number 6, daily protein intake. Here's what most doctors don't tell seniors. The protein recommendations you've followed your whole life aren't enough anymore. After 50, your body becomes less efficient at using protein to build and maintain muscle, which means you need more protein, not less, to fight sarcopenia. The old recommendation of 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight was designed to prevent deficiency, not to maintain muscle mass as you age. Research on sarcopenia shows seniors need 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. That's roughly double the old recommendation. If you weigh 160 pounds, that's about 70 to 90 grams of protein every single day. And here's what's crucial. You need to spread that across 3 to 4 meals because aging muscles respond better to regular protein doses throughout the day, rather than one large meal. Each meal should contain 25 to 30 grams of protein. That's about the size of your palm in chicken, fish, or lean meat, or a cup of Greek yogurt or a protein shake. This regular protein intake keeps muscle protein synthesis elevated throughout the day, which is how you combat the muscle breakdown that comes with sarcopenia. Don't fall for the myth that seniors need less protein because they're less active. The opposite is true. You need more protein to maintain the muscle you have and rebuild what you've lost. Protein provides the building blocks, but what actually limits your ability to train consistently isn't muscle strength. It's joint and connective tissue health. Biohack number 7. Collagen plus vitamin C. After 50, your joints, tendons, and ligaments lose collagen faster than your body can replace it. This is why your knees ache, your shoulders feel stiff, and movements that used to be easy now cause discomfort. And here's the problem. If your joints hurt, you can't do the resistance training you need to fight sarcopenia. This is where collagen supplementation becomes crucial. Take 15 to 20 grams of collagen peptides plus 100 milligrams of vitamin C together 30 to 45 minutes before your resistance training. Collagen provides the raw materials your connective tissues need to repair and strengthen. Vitamin C is essential for your body to actually synthesize that collagen into functional tissue. Taking them together before exercise means those building blocks are available exactly when your body needs them most. Research specifically on seniors shows that collagen supplementation reduces joint pain, improves mobility, and helps maintain the structural integrity of tendons and ligaments. This means you can do the resistance training necessary to combat sarcopenia without being sidelined by joint pain. You're not just building muscle, you're maintaining the infrastructure that lets you keep building muscle for years to come. Strong, healthy joints mean you can train consistently, and consistent training is what stops sarcopenia from stealing your independence. That protects your joints for the long term, but none of this matters if you're not getting quality sleep, because sleep is where your aging body repairs and rebuilds muscle tissue. Biohack number 8. Sleep and recovery. Sleep becomes even more critical after 50 because your body's recovery processes slow down with age. You can do perfect resistance training and eat enough protein, but if your sleep is poor, you're still losing the battle against sarcopenia. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone, the hormone that repairs muscle tissue and builds new muscle fibers. After 50, you produce less growth hormone than you did when you were younger, which means the growth hormone you do produce during sleep becomes even more precious. Poor sleep means even less growth hormone, which accelerates muscle loss. The difference between 6 hours of fragmented sleep and 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is the difference between continued muscle loss and actual muscle rebuilding. For seniors fighting sarcopenia, sleep isn't optional, it's essential. Keep your bedroom dark and cool, ideally 65 to 68 degrees. This helps your body reach the deep sleep stages where growth hormone is released. Cut screens at least 1 hour before bed because blue light suppresses melatonin, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. If you need help with sleep quality, consider magnesium glycinate, 300 to 400 milligrams about an hour before bed. Magnesium helps relax your muscles, supports deep sleep, and many seniors are deficient in it anyway. Every resistance training session creates the stimulus for muscle growth. Sleep is where that growth actually happens. Without quality sleep, you're just breaking down muscle without giving your body the time it needs to rebuild it stronger. Sleep handles the rebuilding, but there's one recovery method that determines how often you can safely train to fight sarcopenia. Biohack number 9. Cold exposure. After 50, recovery takes longer than it used to. Soreness that would have faded overnight in your 30s now lingers for days. And that extended recovery time means fewer training sessions, which means less stimulus to fight sarcopenia. Cold exposure dramatically speeds up your recovery. 2 to 3 minutes in a cold shower after your resistance training rapidly reduces inflammation in your muscles and helps your nervous system reset. This means you recover faster and can train more frequently without overtraining or risking injury. For seniors, more frequent training sessions are crucial because you need consistent stimulus to maintain muscle mass. If you're too sore to train for 3 or 4 days after each workout, you're only training once or twice a week, and that's not enough frequency to effectively combat sarcopenia. Cold exposure isn't about being tough. It's about recovery speed. The faster you recover, the more often you can send muscle-building signals to your body, and more frequent training means better results in fighting muscle loss. You don't need an ice bath or expensive cold plunge. A cold shower for 2 to 3 minutes after training works perfectly. Start with lukewarm water and gradually make it colder over 30 seconds so your body can adjust. This simple recovery method can be the difference between training twice a week and training 4 times a week. And that frequency difference is massive when you're fighting age-related muscle loss. Cold exposure speeds recovery, but there's one final strategy that controls your body's hormonal environment for building muscle, and it costs absolutely nothing. Biohack number 10. Morning sunlight. 10 minutes outside within the first hour of waking. No sunglasses, just natural light exposure on your face and in your eyes. This might be the simplest strategy of all, but it has profound effects on your body's ability to maintain muscle as you age. Morning sunlight locks in your circadian rhythm, which controls your entire sleep-wake cycle. Better circadian rhythm means deeper sleep at night, which means more growth hormone release, which means better muscle repair and growth. It also optimizes your cortisol awakening response. Cortisol gets a bad reputation, but the morning cortisol spike is actually healthy. It gives you energy for the day and helps regulate your metabolism. Getting that cortisol spike at the right time through morning sunlight improves your energy for resistance training later in the day. For seniors, morning sunlight has additional benefits. It improves vitamin D production, which is crucial for both muscle function and bone density. It enhances mood and cognitive function, reducing the risk of depression that often comes with aging. And it naturally improves your sleep quality at night by reinforcing your body's natural rhythms. 10 minutes in the morning affects your entire 24-hour cycle of muscle building and recovery. Better energy means better training. Better sleep means better recovery. Better hormones mean your body is primed to maintain muscle instead of losing it. This is the simplest intervention that amplifies everything else, and it costs you nothing. Just step outside, let the morning sunlight hit your face, and let your biology work the way it's designed to. Here's what happened when Robert applied these strategies. Robert is 72, and 2 years ago he couldn't get out of his recliner without using his arms to push himself up. His legs had gotten so weak that standing up from a seated position required help from his hands, and that terrified him because he knew what it meant. He was losing his independence. His doctor had mentioned sarcopenia during his annual checkup, explaining that muscle loss was normal at his age and he should take it easy and be careful. Robert left that appointment feeling like his body was giving up on him and there was nothing he could do about it. But Robert's daughter had been reading about resistance training for seniors, and she convinced him to try a different approach. We started with the absolute basics: wall push-ups, chair squats, and resistance band exercises. Everything was slow and controlled, focusing on time under tension rather than speed or heavy weight. We made sure he was eating enough protein, about 80 grams spread across 3 meals every day, which was nearly double what he'd been eating before. We got him taking 5 grams of creatine daily and collagen with vitamin C before his workouts to protect his joints. The first 2 weeks were discouraging. Robert was sore, tired, and skeptical that any of this would work at 72. But we kept the sessions short, just 20 to 30 minutes, 3 times per week, and focused on progressive resistance. Each week he did 1 or 2 more reps than the week before, or moved to a slightly harder variation. At week 4, something shifted. Robert stood up from his kitchen chair one morning without thinking about it, and halfway up he realized he hadn't used his hands. He sat back down and tried again, and he could do it. His legs were strong enough to lift him without help. By week 8, he was doing counter push-ups instead of wall push-ups. His grip strength had improved so much that opening jars wasn't a struggle anymore. At 3 months, his daughter noticed he was walking faster and standing taller, and Robert realized he hadn't felt this strong in over a decade. 6 months in, Robert's doctor ran a body composition scan and was shocked. Robert had gained 7 pounds of muscle mass and lost 9 pounds of fat. At 72 years old, he had reversed his sarcopenia. His doctor asked what he was doing differently, and Robert told him about the resistance training, the protein, the creatine, and the consistent effort. Now at 73, Robert does things he thought were gone forever. He carries his own groceries. He plays on the floor with his grandchildren. He goes on hikes with his daughter. The fear of losing his independence is gone, replaced with confidence that his body still works. It just needed the right stimulus and the right fuel. Robert didn't need to accept muscle loss as inevitable. He needed to understand that sarcopenia responds to resistance training, adequate protein, and consistent effort at any age. What happened for him is exactly what these 10 strategies do when you apply them consistently, even in your 70s and beyond. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 strategies are you going to start with? Drop it in the comments below. Are you beginning resistance training, increasing your protein intake, or maybe just stepping outside for that morning sunlight? Let me know. I read every single one. Sarcopenia isn't inevitable, and it's not too late to reverse it. Your muscles will respond to resistance training at any age when you give them the right stimulus, the right fuel, and the right recovery. These 10 strategies work with your aging body's biology to rebuild muscle, restore strength, and help you maintain your independence for decades to come. Pick at least 2 of these strategies, start today, and watch how quickly your strength and confidence return. Your body is still capable of amazing things. You just need to work with it, not against it. Don't forget to drop your name and where you're watching this from in the comments. I'd love to know more about you. If you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos on staying strong, mobile, and independent after 50.